Welcome back in. He is listed as one of the most popular governors in the country and the chair of the Democratic Governors Association. Now, Governor Andy Beshear has been hitting the national airwaves hard this week with back-to-back appearances on numerous platforms, including an interview on his podcast with former UK basketball coach Rick Pitino. So what does it all mean? Is the governor signaling something bigger in his future? Today, WKYT photojournalist Darnell Crenshaw asked the governor about his recent appearance and got some insider views from two political scientists. It's a story that's new at 6.
Please welcome to the program Governor Andy Beshear.
That is the state's top official on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart talking about unity in times of crisis while governor.
The common thread is that we band together and we push through.
Son of a gun, look at you.
Are his appearances on national TV telling us something he won't say? We talked to political scientists Dr. Stephen Voss and Dr. Shauna Riley for their take.
All signs are that Andy Beshear is at least toying with running for president.
He's certainly elevating his position. You're correct that it doesn't necessarily mean he's running for president, but all signs also indicate that that's a possibility.
At Thursday's Team Kentucky briefing, we asked the governor why he's hitting the national airwaves. He says he was invited to those shows.
What it means is we're doing great things in Kentucky. You know, people wouldn't be providing these invitations if we weren't creating more jobs.
He used his time on those platforms to speak on national issues.
But the other thing I'm trying to do is speak reason into the chaos. I'm trying to be a steadying voice of what our country should be, of pushing back against the division.
Adam Hope, a spokesperson with the state Republican Party, weighed in saying, quote, Andy Beshear claims to be a bipartisan leader, but his recent media tour makes clear his focus is on building a presidential resume, not governing Kentucky, end quote. The political scientists agree the governor has more work to do to be a household name across America, if, keyword if, he wants to be commander-in-chief. And on Beshear's podcast show, former Kentucky basketball coach Rick Pitino praised the governor for his leadership and may be giving us a hint at the future.
We need leadership like you in this country. You're doing a fabulous job in the Commonwealth. I hope it's even bigger someday.
Certainly doing my best.
Yeah.
I think if I answered that question, I'd have to fill out paperwork.
Yeah.
Dr. Voss says Beshear taking international trips benefits Kentucky, but the governor can also use those trips to enhance his background in foreign relations.